Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you my bullet journal setup for the month of August 2019. For this month I wanted to start practicing my drawings and my hand lettering, so I decided to dive in and I chose a simple theme for the month so that my drawings didn't have to be too complicated. I chose garden lights because when I think about August, I not only think about my time at the seaside, but also the countless dinners we had in the garden with my family and extended family, and this prompted the theme for this month. I first drew a couple of strings and I made them twist and curl a little bit to add a little bit more interest, and then I added a few lights hanging from them. The drawing is pretty simple. It's basically sort of an elongated circle with a rectangle on top and the string light, and then a little curly shape in the middle to represent the filament that makes the lights light up, basically. I penciled everything in with a Faber-castell mechanical pencil, and then I'm going over it with my Faber-castell PITT black artist pens. I tried to write down August and the quote in a bit of a hand letter type font, and then I'm doing some faux calligraphy by thickening out all the lines that would correspond to downstrokes. I did the same for the quote, which reads, "Be the light that helps others to see." After I added it to my bullet journal, I realized that this quote might be inspired to the gospel. I am not entirely sure, but the reason why this spoke to me is that it made me think about the fact that being the best version of ourselves is not only good for us, but also for the people that surround us and that we love. And so I felt it was a nice reminder for me to keep improving, and also it matched pretty nicely with the theme of the lights. I erased the pencil lines with my Faber-castell Kneaded eraser, and I prefer this to a traditional rubber because it will not crumble and it will not mess up my desk. I added some color accents to the page using a Crayola Super Tip marker. This is a yellow marker, and I also used it to add a little bit of a shadow around some of the words in my quote. And I wasn't liking the way the sea was looking, so I decided to draw in a banner without outlining it though. I'm not sure if it was the right choice or not, but it's done, so we can move on to the next page. This is my monthly overview page, and this is where I'll have my monthly calendar with the main tasks written down. Again, I wrote the title with this kind of cursive hand-lettered font, and then I did some faux calligraphy by thickening the borders that correspond to the downstrokes. My hand is kind of on top of the page all the time, so it's hard for you to see what I'm doing, and I'm sorry about that, but the reason is that I think I flattened down the tip of my S Faber-castell marker. I guess I'm a little bit heavy-handed, so I really have to have my pen straight in order to get a nice line, basically. As I was done creating my August setup, I realized that M size is probably better for the titles, and I think that is what I will stick to for my next setups. But this time around, this is what we are going to work with. Coming back to the spread, each box measures 6 by 6, and I wrote the weekdays on top using kind of a whimsical font, which is mostly my handwriting, but where I have the vowels written in low caps and the consonants written in all caps. I'm going to add some quick accents again with this yellow pen, and then I will also add some decoration to the top right corner of the page. Probably you can see the pencil lines already. I added another string of lights, which I am quickly drawing in with my pen. I always like to go in first with the pencil for the pages and also for my drawings. It makes me feel a little bit more confident. I also used a Stabil felt tip pen to add some shadows to the title and also some accents to the lights. And then I moved on to my next page. This is what I called Brain Dump in July, but I decided to switch it up for Remember To. And this will basically be my to-do list for tasks that don't have a specific date or things I need to keep in mind, but I don't want to crowd my head with. So it is a brain dump for all intents and purposes, but Remember To sounds a little bit nicer in my opinion. At the bottom, I have goals and ideas, and I don't need a lot of space, especially for goals. As I said already, I want to just focus on a few things and try to build habits around them and actually achieve those goals rather than, overdo it and then get overwhelmed. For the ideas, I realized that I had a lot of empty space left in my ideas page in July, so I only left a little bit of space. I will mark each goal with a little light, and then I guess I will color them in if the goal is achieved by the end of the month. Because in comics and cartoons, a light that lights up is kind of like an idea that comes to your mind. I decided to draw in a light bulb in the areas where I will write down my ideas. And for it to look clean once I have things written down in that space, I used a Stabil felt tip pen in a light gray color. And then I moved on and started setting up my weekly pages. I did set up all my weeks in advance, and I did that for July too. I'm not sure this is the best thing to do. It might be nicer to have this at the very end of your monthly setup, so that if you have any days where you need a bit more space to write things down, you can do it right after your weekly pages. But I'll have to work out a system that works for me and with my schedule and the amount of tasks that I have. I created some banners for each day of the week. I drew in some light bulbs where I wrote the number of the day, so the day in the month. And then with this whimsical mixed font, I wrote in the days of the week. I added some color accents again with my Crayola Super Tip marker and the Stabil pen. And because the first week of August is just 3 days, I just wanted to really quickly show you what the setup for a full week will look like. I'm going to have my 3 banners for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the left side of the page, and then I'm going to have 2 large banners for Thursday and Friday, and 2 small ones, one on top of each other, for Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully weekends will be a little bit more free than weekdays, so I will not need as much space on my spreads basically to write tasks down. The large banners measure 25 boxes down by 8 boxes across, and the central part of the flag end is raised by 2 boxes with respect to the base of the banners. I hope that makes sense. The Saturday and Sunday one measure 12 boxes down by 8 boxes across. I have 1 empty line in the middle, and the flag end is raised just by 1 box with respect to the base of the banner. I have some space for notes at the bottom of the page. And because I wrote the name of the days of the week in the wrong order, I don't know what happened there, I think I got distracted. I used some perforated dotted sheets. These are loose sheets that I have to cut down some strips that I'm going to glue on top of the mistakes that I make basically, so that I can write down the names of the week, this time in the correct order and with the correct spelling. These sheets will be listed and linked in the description box down below, together with all the supplies that I used to create my setup for August. And now we can move on to the next page. This is where I'm going to track my mood and productivity, and it's going to be next to my 1 line a day page. I drew in 2 large calendars basically, one for my mood and one for my productivity, and I drew in some light bulbs that I will fill in based on the level, so whether it's good, average or not so good, using the different colors that I have on the key at the top of the page. I didn't mention it so far, but I decided to decorate all the titles with some strings with light bulbs hanging from them. I thought it was a nice touch, and I thought I could use it for the trackers to create the key. Next, I have my daily page, and here I just have basically one line per day, and I decided to put it next to my productivity and mood to see basically why my mood was in a certain way on a specific day and how that affected my productivity. And I hope you don't mind the still shots, but my camera decided to shut down at that point, so I apologize for that. Resuming the video, we have my habits page and my routine page. For the habits, I repeated the same thing as last month, but this time I added in some drawing. So I'm going to track whether I practice my drawing at all. And I'm also planning to get sort of a separate notebook or a sketchbook for that. At the bottom of the page, I have some space again for my daily routine. The basic structure is the same and my day is broken down in the same way as I had it for July. But this time around, I also left some space to write down what my daily activity is. So basically, after I wake up, I give myself an hour to do something that I like or that I think would benefit me. It can be practice with drawing or brush lettering. It can be working out. It can be something that has to do with my blog, although it shouldn't be work related. But I decided to basically add a small calendar with a key next to that, and this will help me see what activity I did in which day. So you see I have sort of a vertical calendar there, and then I will add in a few symbols, or rather some letters really, to represent different type of activities. And I have some empty space at the bottom, and I can always expand on that. Something that I learned also from my July spreads is that I need the days of the week on top of these calendar type trackers because I get a little bit lost and I don't like to do counting, so this is an easier way to fill them in. I also decided to add some drop shadows to each of the calendars in my habit tracker and also on the routine banner using again my Faber-castell pens. This is just a larger size, I think it's the size M. And drop shadows are a really easy way to make your elements pop, so I like to add them. My next page is my social media activity and followers tracker. So here it's where I keep a record of all the posts that I have on the different social media platforms where I'm active. And if you're interested in following me there too, you can find a link in the description box down below. There are links there to my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and blog. And there I share more inspiration that is related to card making and paper crafting, and there will be also more bullet journaling related content in case you're new to this channel and you don't know what I'm all about. For the social media part of the spread, I drew in a calendar for each social media platform, and I will basically add a dot every time I have a post on any of these platforms. And then at the bottom, I have again a line for Instagram, one for YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, blog, and Twitter. And then I have basically columns, one for each week of the month. And at the beginning of each week, I'm going to write down the number of followers I have there. Because my posts page was kind of cramped and I didn't have space for everything, I decided to use a horizontal layout this time around. So I just wrote the title posts at the top, and then I'm going to draw in basically a table where I will have a column for each project, and then, basically the other columns will track the progress. So if I have completed the card or the bullet journal spread or anything that I want to create, whether I have a picture, whether I have filmed a video, and so on, so that I can keep track of my activity and the progress, as I said. This is, of course, very specific to what I do, but it can be a useful spread in case you need to break down larger tasks into smaller tasks and keep track of the progress. Next is my expenses and wish list page. Again, I have my titles in this hand-lettered font with the faux calligraphy. I know it's not perfect and possibly not the best hand lettering you have seen on YouTube, but for me this bullet journal is about practice, is about improvement, and is about organizing my time and my activities. So I just thought it's a nice thing to share with you because I'm sharing basically my creative journey on this channel, and this is part of it, and I hope you do enjoy it. The last page is a cleaning tracker. Basically, I wanted to organize the house activities a little bit better and in a more structured way. My camera decided to switch off again, so here's another still picture for you. The setup is pretty simple. At the top I have the days of the month, and then I have a line for each room. And each day I will fill in the spread using this little key, which helps me figure out what part of the cleaning process for each room has been done for that day. So this is the final flip through of the month of August. As you know, if you have seen my other bullet journaling video, I am a beginner at this and I am still trying to experiment with different layouts and setups. And also, as I said already, I'm trying to practice my hand lettering and my drawing. I'm really happy that I took the leap and started drawing and hand lettering in my bullet journal starting from the month of August, and I already cannot wait to set up the bullet journal for September, but that's for another month. As always, if you enjoyed this video, you can let me know with a comment and by giving it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Thank you all so much for stopping by and have a great day.